He laughed at her every Saturday, mocked the way she walked, the way she spoke to strangers, and especially the way she sold fruit. He never told his friends what she did. He never said why they had food on the table. To him, it was just shame. To her, it was survival. But what if, behind those old hands and plastic bags, she was hiding something far greater than he ever imagined? This isn't just a story about a mother and her stall at the market. It's about a silent war, a quiet brilliance, and a lesson that came too late. Stay until the end. You won't believe what she built from nothing. He never invited anyone to their house, never talked about what his mother did. At school, he'd say she worked with sales. But deep down, he couldn't stand the truth. She was a vendor at the local fruit market. Every Saturday, she'd wake up before sunrise, carry crates heavier than herself, smile at customers who barely looked her in the eyes, and he pretended none of it existed. He was ashamed of her hands, rough, marked, tired. Ashamed of the way she smelled of oranges and sweat. Ashamed of the very woman who kept the lights on. Before we reveal what she was really building in silence, take a moment to support this story. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. Why? Because this kind of content can help more people rethink how they see money, success, and those who quietly build it. And maybe even change their lives. Now back to her story. She never asked for applause, never complained. She simply did what had to be done. Raising a child alone isn't just hard. It's war. A war fought in silence between paychecks and prayers, between exhaustion and hope. While the world kept spinning, she woke up while it was still dark. She packed bananas, apples, and dreams into the back of a rusty old cart, then walked blocks under the cold or sun just to claim her usual spot at the corner of the street. People passed by and barely noticed her, but she noticed everything. She watched every coin, every discount, every whisper in the wind, because every cent she made mattered. Her hands didn't get tired, they endured. Her feet didn't hurt, they advanced. And even when the world felt too heavy, she carried it all, for him. At home, bills piled up quietly. So did the pain, but you wouldn't see her cry, not in front of him. Instead, she smiled, made rice and beans taste like royalty, made second-hand clothes feel like new. And when he asked why they didn't have more, she simply said, "One day we will." She didn't know luxury, but she knew discipline. She wasn't praised in public, but she was a silent architect, building a future with her bare hands, and still, he never saw it. He saw only the market, the noise, the humble clothes. He saw her struggle, but not her strength. He was dreaming of a big life. She was busy paying for it, but the truth she hid, the truth that would one day shake his world, was already growing quietly behind every sacrifice. She didn't earn much, but she learned how to make every coin count. While others laughed at budgeting, she turned saving into an art. Each week, she sat at the kitchen table with a pencil worn from use and a notebook filled with numbers. She knew exactly how much came in and exactly how much could go out. No fancy apps, no financial advisor, just her mind, and a will made of steel. If she sold 12 apples, she'd keep 3 for the house, 2 for the neighbors who couldn't afford fruit, and save the value of 1 religiously. Her motto was simple: if it doesn't go to the notebook, it doesn't get spent. She reused every bag, turned old clothes into cleaning cloths, and when the market offered discounts at closing time, she waited patiently, knowing every penny saved was a brick in the foundation of her dream. Even on days when sales were low and hunger was real, she still saved. Not because she could, but because she had to. She knew life could turn at any moment, and when it did, she wanted to be ready. No one taught her about interest rates or investment portfolios. She taught herself. Late at night with the light of a cheap lamp, watching videos about money management, the kind with poor image and simple advice. She read borrowed books, underlined words she didn't fully understand, and looked them up later, whispering the definitions to herself like prayers. She never bragged, she just prepared. And while her son dreamed of success on distant stages, she was building stability in silence. She was planning for storms before clouds even showed up. To the world, she was just another vendor. But beneath the surface, she was becoming something few people ever truly master. A woman who knew exactly where every cent was going, and exactly where her future was headed. Before the city even woke up, she was already on her feet. No alarms needed, just the weight of responsibility pulling her from sleep. At 4 a.m., the world was silent, but her mind was racing. She packed the last crates into the old pickup truck, the tires crunching on gravel as she headed to the market. The air was cold, sharp, and filled with the smell of dew. She moved fast, unloading boxes with practiced hands, her breath visible in the chill. She set up the stall piece by piece, folding tarps, arranging baskets, stacking fruit just so. Every banana curved just right. Every apple gleamed under the faint light. It wasn't just about selling, it was about pride. Neighbors still sleeping didn't understand. The shopkeepers opening their doors didn't see. But she was preparing her battleground, the place where she would fight to feed her son. Hours passed. Customers came and went. She greeted them with a smile, even when her feet ached and her back screamed in protest. There were no breaks, no shortcuts. Every minute mattered. Every sale was a step closer to paying bills, to sending her son to school, to proving that this humble market stall was more than just a job. The sun climbed higher. The market grew noisy, but through it all, she stayed steady, focused, determined, unshakable, because every early morning was a promise she would not fail. She could not fail, and no matter how hard it got, she would keep going. This was more than fruit. It was her sacrifice, her love, her fight. Every coin she earned was a choice. Every hour spent at the market was a sacrifice. She gave up rest, gave up comfort, gave up little things most people take for granted, like a warm meal or a day off. Because her son's future was worth every hardship. She patched his clothes with trembling hands. She watched him leave for school with hope in her eyes, even when her heart was heavy with doubt. She knew education was his only escape, a chance to break the cycle of struggle they were trapped in. Sometimes she skipped meals so he could have extra books. Sometimes she worked through the night, folding crates and counting coins just to afford the school fees. There were days she worried he wouldn't make it, days she questioned if all the pain was enough. But she never gave up, never stopped believing. And though he didn't always appreciate it, she carried her sacrifices silently, like armor. For her, there was no other option, no other plan, only the hope that one day her son would walk into a better life because of her relentless, quiet fight. As he grew older, his dreams grew bigger. He wanted more, better clothes, a flashy car, a life beyond the market. Ambition burned inside him like a fire, but ambition alone isn't enough, and responsibility, that was something he never learned. He saw his mother's hard work as a burden, something to escape from, not to appreciate. He spent money carelessly, chasing quick pleasures and easy friends, ignoring the lessons she tried to teach. He forgot the early mornings, the tired hands, the sacrifices made just so he could have a future. He thought success would come without effort, without sacrifice, without pain. His dreams were big, but his actions were small. He forgot that ambition without discipline is just wishful thinking, and that respect for those who build the foundation is the first step toward real success. His mother watched silently, her heart heavy, hoping he would one day understand it before it was too late. She had no college degree, no fancy education, just a deep desire to learn, to change her life. Every night, after a long day of work, she sat with her phone or a small worn-out book. videos with shaky images, simple words and basic advice. But to her, they were treasures. She watched, paused, rewound, and wrote down every lesson. Basic budgeting, saving, investing, all concepts new to her, but vital. She read books borrowed from the library or bought second-hand, highlighting passages with a cheap pen. Her thirst for knowledge was unstoppable. She knew that understanding money wasn't just for the rich. It was for anyone who wanted to build a future. She learned how to track expenses, how to cut costs without losing dignity, how to make small amounts grow slowly but surely. It wasn't easy. The words sometimes felt like a foreign language, but she persisted because knowledge was power, and power was the key to freedom. She was not just selling fruit, she was investing in herself, preparing for the day when her hard work would finally pay off. Her notebook was her secret weapon, a small, worn journal filled with handwriting that told a story of determination. Every week, without fail, she recorded every detail: how many fruits she sold, what she spent on supplies, the money saved, and the money invested. Her notes were more than numbers. They were a map guiding her through uncertain days. She tracked prices, learned what sold best and when, and adjusted her plans with careful precision. No detail was too small. She wrote about the smallest gains and the tiniest losses. Even her hopes and fears found a place on those pages. Her handwriting wasn't perfect, sometimes shaky from tired hands, sometimes hurried before dawn, but every word carried the weight of a woman determined to win. Her notebook showed the difference between a dream and a plan, between wishful thinking and real progress. It was proof that success isn't magic, it's work, discipline, consistency. And behind every line in that notebook was a mother fighting for her family's future, one number at a time. To the outside world, things look simple. A fruit stall at the market, a modest life with no flashy signs of wealth. But beneath the surface, there was a quiet revolution, a mind working with purpose and clarity. Many confuse success with appearances, new clothes, expensive gadgets, or the illusion of living large. But true success is built on planning, on knowing your numbers, your limits, your goals. It's the difference between living for show and living for tomorrow. She knew that showing off brings temporary praise, but careful planning builds lasting security. Her son learned this the hard way, chasing image, ignoring foundation, until the fragile facade crumbled. Her notebook, her budgets, her disciplined savings, they were invisible to many, but priceless for those who understood their value. True wealth isn't in what you display, but in what you protect and grow silently. She was teaching a lesson bigger than money, a lesson about life, about respect, about the power of quiet, steady work. The day came without warning. He lost his job, a sudden dismissal that shook his world. No more steady paycheck, no more easy spending. The reality hit hard, like a cold wave crashing against him. Bills piled up. Debts whispered louder, pride crumbled. For the first time he saw the cracks beneath his confident facade. The lack of savings, the absence of a real plan, all caught up to him at once. Financial collapse isn't just about money. It's about dreams fading, hope slipping through trembling fingers. He was forced to face what he had ignored for so long, the silent struggle of his mother. The sacrifices she made while he was busy chasing illusions. His world was unraveling, and suddenly the person he once mocked became his only hope. Pride is a hard thing to swallow, especially when it means turning to the very person you look down on. He hesitated at the door, heart heavy with regret and shame. The market smells, the early mornings, all memories he once scorned, but desperation left him no choice. He swallowed his pride and asked for help. His mother, with tired eyes and a gentle smile, welcomed him without judgment. She didn't remind him of the past, didn't reproach or blame. Instead, she offered strength, guidance, and a quiet hope. Her sacrifices were not forgotten. They became the foundation for his new beginning. In that moment, he learned the true meaning of humility, the value of family, and the power of forgiveness. Because sometimes the hardest step forward is admitting you need help. What shocked him most wasn't just her kindness, it was what he discovered next. Behind the humble stall, hidden from casual eyes, she had built something unexpected. A small warehouse filled with carefully stored fruits, not just leftover stock, but an organized, well-managed reserve. She had been quietly saving and investing every penny, turning small profits into something bigger. It was more than a storage space. It was proof of her vision and discipline. A secret stronghold she had built with patience, far from the eyes of the world. For years, while he wasted time and money, she was quietly creating a foundation. This revelation shattered his assumptions. The woman he thought he knew was stronger than he ever imagined. And in that moment he realized success isn't always loud. Sometimes it's silent, steady, unseen. He stood there, stunned, the weight of years finally sinking in. She wasn't just a simple market vendor. She was a master of quiet perseverance. The small warehouse was filled with more than just fruit. It was filled with hope, discipline, and hard-earned savings. Every crate represented sacrifices he never noticed. Every carefully stacked box was a lesson in patience and planning. He saw the notebook she kept, the careful budgets, the modest investments growing slowly but surely. It was a truth he could no longer deny. She had been building a future, not just for herself, but for him too. His pride faltered, replaced by awe and regret. The son who once laughed at her now had a new respect, a newfound understanding of the power of steady effort. She didn't just save money, she multiplied it. With every coin she earned at the market, she planned carefully, invested wisely, and made her small earnings grow. Instead of spending immediately, she focused on reinvesting, buying better supplies, finding new customers, and expanding her business little by little. She learned about simple financial tools, saving accounts, small loans, even basic investments she found in her books and videos. It was slow, steady work, no shortcuts or get-rich-quick schemes. Her strategy was simple: consistency, patience, and faith in the process. Her market stall was more than a place to sell fruit. It was a classroom, a bank, and a seedbed for new dreams. The lesson she taught wasn't just about money. It was about vision, resilience, and the power to transform small beginnings into lasting success. Slowly, he began to change. Not overnight, but step by step. She invited him to work by her side, to see how the market really worked, to learn the art of selling and negotiating. He watched how she spoke to customers with respect and patience, how she priced her fruits fairly but firmly, how she managed every penny carefully, never losing sight of the bigger picture. She taught him that business isn't just about money, it's about trust, relationships, and responsibility. At first, he stumbled, awkward and uncertain, but she was patient. Together they counted money, balanced budgets, and planned for the next day. He learned how to listen, how to adapt, and how to stay disciplined. Through humble work he found new respect, not only for his mother, but for himself. The lessons from the market became lessons for life. Working side by side, something changed between them. The walls of misunderstanding began to crumble. The son, once distant and dismissive, started to see his mother in a new light. She was not just a woman selling fruit, but a fighter, a teacher, a steady force. Through the sweat of early mornings and the quiet moments at the stall, they rebuilt trust. Their conversations grew deeper, filled with respect and gratitude. The market became more than a workplace. It became a bridge, reconnecting hearts, mending broken bonds. They laughed, they struggled, they dreamed together. This humble work did more than provide income. It healed a family. In the simple act of selling fruit, they found a new beginning. Not every great success starts with a big idea or a massive investment. Sometimes it begins with something simple, something real, a small fruit stall, a humble service, a consistent effort. These can build a foundation stronger than many realize. Simple businesses, when managed with care and discipline, can provide stability in uncertain times. They create steady income, allow families to plan for the future, and build independence one step at a time. This kind of work teaches valuable skills: budgeting, negotiation, perseverance, and responsibility. Most importantly, it offers freedom, not just financial, but the freedom to dream and grow. Her story is proof that even the smallest ventures, nurtured with patience and wisdom, can transform lives. Gradually, the son's mindset began to shift. He moved from entitlement to responsibility. He saw firsthand the sacrifices his mother made, the early mornings, the long hours, the constant hustle. He realized that success isn't handed out. It's earned through sweat and perseverance. No more shortcuts or quick fixes. He learned to respect hard work and the discipline it demands. This transformation was more than just about business. It was about growing into a man who values effort and integrity. With each day working alongside his mother, he grew stronger, wiser, and more humble. He started dreaming not just about success, but about meaningful achievement and lasting impact. The son was no longer the boy who laughed at the market stall. He became a man who understood its true worth. Regret is a heavy burden to carry. He felt it deep in his heart, weighing him down. Looking back, he saw how blind pride had made him cruel, how he dismissed the woman who gave everything for him, the sacrifices she made, the silent battles she fought. He had ignored them all. Now, facing hardship himself, he understood her strength in ways he never had before. The pain of realizing his mistakes was bitter but necessary. It opened his eyes to the value of gratitude and respect. He longed for a chance to make things right, to honor the woman who never gave up on him. His journey wasn't just about rebuilding finances, but about healing a wounded heart. He learned that the greatest loss is to undervalue those who love us the most. In life, the loudest voices are not always the ones who carry the greatest strength. Sometimes the quietest people are the ones with the clearest vision. Never underestimate those who work silently, those who sacrifice without boasting, who save and plan behind closed doors, who build futures brick by brick without seeking applause. They see beyond the moment, beyond the struggles, and into the possibilities that others miss. Her story teaches us that real power lies in patience, resilience, and faith. So if you find yourself doubting someone's humble efforts, remember this mother's journey, how quiet determination changed her family's destiny. Respect the visionaries who move in silence, because they are often the ones who shape the future. And for you watching, let this be a reminder: no matter where you start, with discipline and faith, you can create a legacy that lasts. Thank you for listening. If this story touched you, please like, subscribe, and activate the notification bell. It helps others find inspiration to change their lives, just like you did today. Thank you for staying with us until the end of this story. If you found value in this journey, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Hit the like button to show your support and activate the notification bell so you never miss an inspiring story like this one. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Please leave a comment below. Share this video with someone who is also searching for financial freedom or wants to learn more about managing money wisely. Together, we can grow, learn, and build a better future. Your support means everything. See you in the next video.